The house was quiet, too quiet. It was one of those afternoons where everything seemed to be in perfect harmony. The sun cast a warm glow through the windows, creating a serene atmosphere. The only sounds were the occasional creaks of the old wooden floor and the distant hum of traffic outside. It was the kind of peace that made you want to curl up with a good book and a cup of tea. Hoodie the dog snored on the rug. His soft, rhythmic breathing was a comforting background noise. Hoodie had found his favorite spot, a cozy corner of the living room where the sunlight pooled, making it the perfect napping spot. His dreams were filled with chasing squirrels and running through open fields. Whiskers, the cat, licked her paw. She was perched on the windowsill, her favorite vantage point to watch the world go by. Whiskers was meticulous in her grooming, each lick deliberate and precise. She was the queen of the house, and she knew it. Her eyes occasionally darted to the birds outside, but she was too content to do more than watch. Peppy the parrot napped on his perch. His feathers fluffed up, making him look like a colourful ball of fluff. Peppy was usually the noisiest member of the household, always ready with a squawk or a whistle. But even he had succumbed to the tranquility of the afternoon, his head tucked under his wing as he dozed. A round, shiny thing with blinking lights. It was sleek and modern, a stark contrast to the cosy, lived-in feel of the house. The lights blinked in a rhythmic pattern, almost as if it was alive. It sat in the corner, silent and still, waiting for its moment.
"What is that?" barked Hoodie, jumping up. His sudden movement broke the stillness, his eyes wide with curiosity and a hint of fear. Hoodie had never seen anything like it before. He approached cautiously, his nose twitching as he tried to sniff out the intruder.
"Looks strange," meowed Whiskers, tail twitching. She had leapt down from her perch, her curiosity piqued. Whiskers was always the first to investigate anything new in the house. She circled the shiny object, her tail flicking back and forth as she tried to make sense of it.
"Awk! Intruder alert!" squawked Peppy. He had woken up with a start, his feathers ruffled in alarm. Peppy was the self-appointed guardian of the household, and he took his job very seriously. His squawks echoed through the house, adding to the growing sense of chaos.
The shiny thing moved. It whirred to life with a soft hum, its lights blinking more rapidly. It began to glide across the floor, its movements smooth and deliberate. The pets watched in a mix of awe and apprehension, unsure of what to make of this new addition to their home. It bumped into a chair, spun around and continued on its way. The chair wobbled slightly, but the shiny thing didn't seem to notice. It was on a mission, and nothing was going to stop it. The pets followed its every move, their eyes wide with fascination, and started zooming across the floor. It moved with surprising speed, darting under tables and around corners with ease. The pets scrambled to keep up, their initial fear giving way to curiosity. They had never seen anything like it before, and they were determined to figure out what it was. This was Sucky, the new robot vacuum. It was the latest in home cleaning technology, designed to make life easier for its human owners. But to the pets, it was a mysterious and potentially dangerous intruder. They didn't know what to make of Sucky, but they were determined to find out. And the pets were not happy. They had been the rulers of the house for as long as they could remember, and they didn't like the idea of sharing their domain with this strange new machine. Hoodie barked, Whiskers hissed, and Peppy squawked, each expressing their displeasure in their own way. The peaceful afternoon had been shattered, and the pets knew that things would never be the same again. Hoodie decided to take charge. He'd been observing this strange, noisy contraption for days now. It moved around the house with a mind of its own, sucking up everything in its path. Hoodie, being the curious and protective dog that he was, couldn't just sit back and let this happen. He had to do something about it. He was a big dog, after all. With his strong build and confident demeanor, Hoodie felt it was his duty to protect his home from any potential threats, even if they were small and round like this robot vacuum. He had faced many challenges in his life, but this one was different. It was mechanical, relentless, and seemed to have no fear. He would stop this Sucky thing. Hoodie had seen it gobble up crumbs, dust, and even a stray sock once. It was time to put an end to its reign of terror. He had a plan, and he was determined to see it through. He positioned himself strategically, watching the vacuum's every move, waiting for the perfect moment to strike. Hoodie waited until Sucky came close. His heart pounded with anticipation. He knew he had to time this perfectly. The vacuum whirred and buzzed as it approached, oblivious to the canine ambush that awaited it. Hoodie crouched low, his muscles tensed, ready to spring into action. Then he did what dogs do best. He took a deep breath, feeling the familiar tickle in his throat. This was it, the moment of truth. Hoodie knew that his success depended on this one action. He had to make it count. He coughed up a big, slimy hairball right in front of it. The hairball landed with a splat, right in the path of the oncoming vacuum. Hoodie watched with satisfaction as the mess he created lay there, a barrier between Sucky and the rest of the house.
Ha! Barked Hoodie. Take that, Sucky! He felt a surge of triumph. Surely this would stop the vacuum in its tracks. Hoodie barked again, his tail wagging with excitement. He had done it. He had outsmarted the machine.
But Sucky just kept going. To Hoodie's astonishment, the vacuum didn't stop. It continued its relentless journey across the floor, undeterred by the hairball obstacle. Hoodie watched in disbelief as the vacuum approached the mess he had created. It rolled right over the hairball. The vacuum's brushes spun, and the hairball was quickly swept up into its mechanisms. Hoodie couldn't believe his eyes. His carefully laid plan had failed. The vacuum had simply absorbed the hairball and moved on. The hairball stuck to Sucky's side. As the vacuum continued its cleaning route, the hairball clung to its exterior, a slimy reminder of Hoodie's attempt to thwart it. Hoodie felt a pang of frustration. How could this be? He had been so sure of his plan. Sucky didn't even seem to notice. The vacuum carried on, undeterred by the mess or the dog's efforts. It was as if nothing had happened. Hoodie watched in dismay as the vacuum continued its work, oblivious to the dog's presence and the hairball now stuck to its side. Hoodie whined. This was harder than he thought. He had underestimated the machine's resilience. Hoodie lay down, his head resting on his paws, feeling defeated. He had tried his best, but it seemed that Sucky was unstoppable. As he watched the vacuum continue its cleaning, Hoodie couldn't help but wonder if there was another way to outsmart it. Maybe, just maybe, he needed to come up with a new plan. Whiskers watched from the shadows. She was a cat of action. She would take care of this Sucky problem. Whiskers flattened herself to the ground. Her tail swished back and forth. She crept closer and closer to Sucky.
"She's gonna do it," whispered Peppy from above. "She's gonna pounce."
Whiskers jumped. She landed right on top of Sucky. Sucky stopped moving. Whiskers purred with victory, but then Sucky started spinning. Whiskers flew off, landing on a bookshelf. The pets gathered in the living room. They were defeated. Sucky was still cleaning, and it was covered in hairballs and cat hair.
We have to work together, barked Hoodie.
This is a job for more than one, meowed Whiskers.
"Let's make a plan," squawked Peppy.
They decided to use their strengths. Hoodie would bark and distract Sucky. Whiskers would use her claws to attack, and Peppy, well, Peppy would cheer them on. Section 5 ambush. The plan was in motion.
Barking, bark, bark, bark.
Sucky spun around, confused. This was their chance.
Jumping, I've got this.
Whiskers jumped from the sofa. She landed on Sucky's back. Her claws came out, but Sucky was too slippery. Whiskers slid right off.
"Ox, so close!"
Sucky kept cleaning. It bumped into Hoodie's leg.
Yelping, yipe!
This wasn't working. Section 6, Nibbles' secret weapon. Suddenly, Nibbles the hamster scurried into the room. He was small, but he had an idea.
"I've got just the thing."
Nibbles pushed a tiny ball across the floor. It was his secret weapon, a treat ball. The ball rolled right in front of Sucky. Sucky stopped. It started sucking up the treat ball.
It's working.
But then Sucky spit the treat ball back out. It landed right on Hoodie's head. Section 7, Sucky to the rescue. Just then, something amazing happened. The humans came home. They had bags of groceries. One of the bags ripped. Food spilled everywhere. The pets were scared. This was a disaster. But Sucky sprang into action. It zoomed towards the mess. It sucked up all the spilled food in seconds. The pets watched in amazement. Sucky had saved the day. Section 8, An unlikely friendship. From that day on, the pets saw Sucky in a new light. It was as if a veil had been lifted, revealing a new perspective on the little cleaning machine that had once been a source of confusion and mild annoyance. The pets, who had initially been wary of Sucky's whirring and buzzing, now found themselves intrigued by his presence. They began to see him not as an intruder in their domain, but as a potential friend and ally in their daily adventures. He wasn't an intruder, he was their friend. The transformation in their relationship was nothing short of magical. The pets, each with their unique personalities and quirks, started to interact with Sucky in ways that were both heartwarming and amusing. They discovered that Sucky's movements, once perceived as erratic, were actually quite predictable and even entertaining. The pets began to follow Sucky around the house, watching with fascination as he navigated around furniture and obstacles with ease.
Here, you can have one of my chew toys. Hoodie, the ever-generous dog, was the first to extend a paw of friendship. He carefully selected one of his favorite chew toys and placed it near Sucky, as if offering a peace treaty. It was a touching gesture that marked the beginning of a beautiful friendship.
Hoodie shared his chew toys with Sucky. This act of sharing was significant, as it showed that Hoodie had come to trust and accept Sucky as part of his pack. The two would often be seen together, with Hoodie playfully nudging Sucky and Sucky continuing his cleaning duties, seemingly unfazed by the dog's antics.
You're not so bad after all. Whiskers, the aloof and independent cat, took a bit longer to warm up to Sucky, but eventually even she couldn't resist the charm of the diligent little vacuum. She would sit and observe Sucky from a distance, her eyes narrowing in curiosity. One day she finally approached Sucky and gave him a tentative sniff, followed by a gentle nudge with her paw.
Whiskers rubbed against Sucky's shiny side. This was a clear sign of acceptance in the feline world. Whiskers began to show her affection by rubbing against Sucky's smooth, shiny surface, marking him with her scent. It was her way of saying, "You're one of us now." The sight of the cat and the robot vacuum coexisting peacefully was a testament to the bond that had formed between them.
Hawk, let's teach you some words. Peppy, the talkative parrot, was perhaps the most enthusiastic about Sucky's presence. Always eager to make new friends, Peppy decided that Sucky needed to learn how to communicate. The parrot would perch nearby and squawk out words and phrases, hoping that Sucky would somehow respond.
Peppy even tried to teach Sucky how to say, "Awk." Sucky might have been a cleaning machine, but he had become one of them. Peppy's efforts were met with silence, but that didn't deter the determined bird. He continued his lessons, convinced that one day Sucky would surprise them all by uttering a word or two. The other pets watched these interactions with amusement, their bond with Sucky growing stronger with each passing day. He was part of their family, and they were all cleaner and happier because of it. The presence of Sucky had brought a new dynamic to the household. The pets had not only gained a new friend, but also enjoyed a cleaner living environment. The once chaotic, messy home was now a place of harmony and cleanliness, thanks to Sucky's tireless efforts. The pets and their human family members all appreciated the positive change, and they couldn't imagine life without their beloved robot vacuum. Sucky had truly become an integral part of their family, and they were all the better for it.